3, 2, 1. Man, kill him.
Welcome to On the Back Hash, your podcast for all things pageantry arts. My name is Cedric. I'm with William and Zach. Vibing out a little bit.
Oh,
hey,
no warning.
No warning. It stops. Like I said, this is On the Back Hash, where we talk about the pageantry arts, and we are in the middle of DCI season, so that's what we're concentrating on for now. But there will be plenty of things later. But before we get into it, I'd like to once again remind you guys, go to the link in the description below. Get your nominations in for favorites from Drum Corps Circle. You got favorite drum major, favorite vocalist, favorite front ensemble, favorite social media influence. You got all of this stuff. There you go. So you guys can go down there and vote on that. Also give those guys a follow. They're doing some great stuff for the Drum Corps world. There you go. And they're on just about all the social media outlets, so you can find them there too. So, well, episode 6, fellas, we got a lot to digest and to talk about.
I'm still mad.
On this past weekend, it's happening again. We have the Southwestern Championships down in San Antonio this past weekend, where the picture, it got clearer, but a little fuzzier at the same time. Would y'all agree with that?
Yeah, it's like when you're at the eye doctor and they're like 1 or 2, but they both look bad, so you just pick one so you don't make it awkward. Yeah.
I would completely agree with that statement. So we're going to kind of give a recap of that show and talk about our thoughts from it, because there's a lot to digest from that show. So we're gonna start from the bottom to top. There was one open class score there, the Guardians. They scored a 64.75. But in world class, every world class score was there except for Jersey Surf. They had their home show that weekend, so they're still up in the Northeast. Yeah, but they will be joining the rest of the crew shortly. But from bottom to top, in 19th place, we had Genesis with a 69.250. 18th place was Pacific Crest with a 70.950. 17th was Music City, Music City.
I do it too.
I do it all the time.
I can't help it.
It should feel like it should be another word or something after that. But anyway, Music City, 17th place with a 72.175. The Academy was 16th with a 73.1. Madison Scouts was 15th with a 75.1. Troopers said 14th with a 77.125. Crossman, odd man out, 13th with a 78.315. One of the shockers of the day, Colts, landing right now, sitting in a final spot.
Let's go.
78.600. I think he did that on the night, because I think I heard him from my house. 11th place, Blue Knights with a 79.125. In 10th place, Phantom Regiment with an 82.175. First score to break 80 that night. 9th place, Cavaliers with an 83.250. 8th place, Mandarins, 83.813. In 7th place, Blue Stars with a 84.613. 84.613. Yeah, sorry. I just skipped over that. Sixth place. Yeah, still got silver. It's crazy. The Cadets sitting at 6th with an 86.025. Santa Clara Vanguard is 5th with an 88.750. Blue Coats were 4th, 89.900. In 3rd place, Carolina Crown, 90.425. Second place, Boston Crusaders with a 90.7. And in first place, winning the Southwestern Championship, Blue Devils with a 92.175.
I hate you, Blue Devils.
You don't? You
know how they are.
So before we dive deep into the numbers and the recaps a little bit, what do you guys, William, what's your thoughts just generally overall about the contest itself and how it went down?
Man, it's like, what do you say? You know, it's so much. It's so much. I think for me, it was just you go so long in the season, you're trying to make these comparisons, and then they finally show up, and then you because I know I believe I said back a while back Boston is going to have to get their music score straight and stuff like that because their gap between um Crown in music was a little too spread for my liking. And I was like, man, there's so many chords that could probably sneak in that. But yeah, just being able to finally see everybody together and be able to compare them all for the first time. And sometimes, we've seen it before, that first read doesn't usually always stick to finals, but this was a long time coming. I think a lot of people was finally ready for this to try to really get a good read on what everybody was doing. Now it's not just East against West or South or whatever, and it's going to be run and gun from here on out.
I just remember like listening to the scores coming in and like the bottom 5 or 6 groups. We've been able to pretty much predict the bottom, at 16 through 13-ish range, but then it's kind of up in the air 13 through 11. And then we knew what the middle of the pack was going to look like. And then it's like that top 5. We didn't quite, or really top 4. We weren't sure how that was going to shake up. So it feels good to know that like there's still some parity and it's not quite, not everybody's just locked into a position yet. I think there are a few groups that are kind of locked in and on an island, but it's nice to know that we still have 3 weeks left and there's a lot that can happen between now and then. And, when we get to Indy, I mean, I even feel like there could be some changes from Thursday to Friday and then from Friday to Saturday even. So that's exciting and getting me excited to see all this live and in person. I'm going to get to see the show at Murfreesboro Friday night. So that'll be cool. I've been seeing a lot of these groups through the Flow stream, and now to finally be able to feel what it's like to be there, because that can make or break your view on a show. You could be vibing with a show through the TV, but then when you get there, you're like, I don't know. Or the exact opposite. You're not vibing with it, and you see it, and you're like, man, what have I been missing out on?
Live is completely different. That's why it's so hard to make judgments off of streams and videos. Yep. It's like you want to still give your opinion, and that's cool, but it's so hard to get truly real, or I don't want to say accurate, but a better, opinion than being live. Yeah. And to go along with what you said, man, either that Thursday or Friday show, Santa Clara was further away from the pack, so you can almost kind of include them back in the top 5 because they closed the gap a little bit between those top 5 people. Because before it was like, well, they're set at 5, but you look at that recap from Saturday, it's like, well, they were pretty close to Glucose. So who knows what could happen in these days? There's still, I don't think Glucose may still have some up their sleeve. Who knows? Boston might still have some up their sleeve. Yeah. It's getting crazy.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like about these major regionals. It's you start to see the design shifts start to change. I was sitting here and I was watching the Madison Scout show, and it's like all of those changes that they made, those design choices. I was just like, okay, it's the same show, but it's elevated, and that's what everybody's going to be doing over the next 2 or 3 weeks is trying to figure out, what can we do to elevate our show to make it to that next level. There's definitely tiers happening right now. We talked about the dreaded DCI slotting, but this year, we said earlier in a season that we wanted some parity.
Yeah.
And while it may not seem that we have it at the one spot, definitely the 2 through 5 slot we have it, and then we have it in some other spots as well that we're gonna kind of dig into in a little bit. So, but I love seeing all the little wrinkles and stuff coming out now, and all these little changes, and because that's that's a lot to take in, because like you got the brass arranger have to add counts or change counts or something like that, and then that's got to carry over to the drill writer, and that's got to carry over to the color guard, and all of this intricate stuff has to change in order for 4 measures of music that hopefully add effect to change what judges are wanting to see. So really enjoying hearing a lot of those changes, and there's more to come. You watching DCI long enough, you guys know that what we're seeing is not going to be the very end product, especially from those top groups, because they're all competitive. They love that. They love the activity, but they're going to fight. So we're going to break the numbers down just a little bit. I'm kind of chunk it in tiers, just to kind of, because there's lots of battles. So we're gonna concentrate with the top 5 right now, just to kind of look. If we look at GE, and what they did use a bigger panel, a larger panel. So instead of 2 GE judges, there was 4. Okay, and that's good because for regional championship, you don't want one judge to have that much weight.
Right.
That is a lot to put on one judge. So they put 4 judges in the GE box this time around. Blue Coat swept all 4 judges, winning finishing first by that, and they were 0.65.
Yeah, BD.
Yeah, Blue Devils. Yeah,
Blue Devils.
Did I not say Blue Devils?
Blue Coat.
No. Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted that to be.
I got you. We know.
Freudian slip. Blue Devils swept all captions. 0.65 ahead of second place, which is huge in the GE caption.
Yeah,
which was Crown. So, and if you want to, frame it, Santa Clara was 5th across the board in GE. So where your battle was spots 2, 3, and 4. Boston's Ordinals went 4th, 2nd, 3rd in general effect, which put them 3rd overall in general effect, 0.8 behind Blue Devils. Crown went 2nd, 3rd, 2nd in general effect, which put them 0.65 behind Blue Devils. And Blue Coats went 3rd, 4th in general effect, which pushed them 4th, which made them 1.1 point behind Blue Devils. So 0.6 of that almost 2-point gap that Blue Devils put on everybody came from general effects. Thoughts about that?
I mean, with all the captions, I know we're just talking about GE. I don't think anybody's arguing that BD shouldn't be winning them. I think the discrepancy and the backlash is coming from the gaps that people are seeing. And even me, like, I know, like, BD's not my favorite, but when you look at the score sheet and you look what they do, I mean, Will, you say it all the time, it's the trifecta. You got to complete the triangle, and they do it every year, year in, year out. And for me personally, it's one of those, like, I'm not sitting here and being blind to the fact that BD is who they are and they do what they do, but it's kind of like the Tom Brady effect for me. Like, I get it. They're the best. They're amazing to watch, and it's incredible that, in this time period, I'm alive to witness that greatness happening and seeing all these records and things like that. But it's like, I just want somebody else to win, just for just for a little bit of a palate cleanser. I don't know. I mean, it's not like I'm not saying that they don't deserve to win by any means. I'm not saying that anybody who has been dominant, like LeBron James, Michael Jordan, those people that you think of when you think of just running a dynasty, you have to give them credit where credit's due, and definitely giving BD the credit. But me personally, and that's my opinion. Y'all can come at me in the comments if you want or something, but
No,
I would like to see something different. And it's not a knock against them. It's just how I feel. That's my opinion.
but it's true like that though. It's true like that if you really think about it. I mean, I think that's why so many people, celebrated so much when Alabama got beat by Georgia. It's stuff like that. And yeah, yeah, it's gonna be roll tide to whatever.
I digress. Go ahead.
It's like it's like Zach said, it's like people understand it, and I think a lot of it is different ideas of what general effect is. And I know we talk as friends privately and stuff, and I've asked a couple of y'all, what's your interpretation of general effect and this, that, and the other, just getting ideas and stuff, see how people think, because I think everybody thinks differently, and that I think that has a lot of weight in why people are so upset BD is winning so much, because you find too many people so engaged in Blue Coats, so engaged in what Boston is doing. There's just so much happening in Boston shows, man. And Crown is just a live concert watching some rock band or something. It's a lot being thrown at you, and then you're wondering, it's like, okay, you're not downgrading what BD is doing, but how can you say that what they're doing is on those levels of Coates and them? Is it really given that much GE for what they're doing? If, for lack of a better explanation, if you call it like it's just a show, they're marching and playing. Is it that compared to Coates taking you on a completely crazy journey in a van? Now you're on a spaceship, and now you're fighting cats. What is happening, man? It's fantastic. And then you compare it, and then you're like, how? I can't, like, how are you telling me that that's engaging me more, or whatever is your interpretation of what GE is? And I think that's why so many people are so upset, in that regards. But at the same token, just like you said, I always talk about the trifecta, man. BD is doing their portion of their GE, for lack of a better term, as well, flawlessly. They're nailing it.
Yeah.
They're nailing it. So they'll just have to take that in consideration as well.
Yeah, it's sometimes, even as smart educators and things of that nature, we have to remember general effect is not fan effect.
It's not what?
It's not fan effect. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not how the show makes you feel. It's how well everything is put together. And Blue Devils puts their shows together really, really well. All of those elements are there because, you can't say it's not as difficult as somebody else's show when obviously the judges thinks it is, because they're winning content in every caption. Or they're not achieving at the same levels as the other course because they're winning every achievement in every caption. I really legitimately think they won every achievement subcaption except for a couple of music captions, which we'll get into that later. But you can't deny that. I think the thing for me with Blue Devils, not to turn this into like a why Blue Devils are the way they are, but just to put a cap on it, is I think we all feel that they could do so much more. That's the way I feel about it.
I feel a little more variety.
I feel like they could do they could legitimately, if they wanted to, morph into any core. They could do what Boston's doing. They can do what Crown's doing. They can do what Blue Coats is doing. They can do what Santa Clara. They can do what everybody else is doing and give that variety and still be just as good, if not better. But it's and they have their philosophy, and the kids that march there understand that philosophy and agree with that philosophy, and I think that's why that identity works for them. Because they do some interesting stuff, harmonically, that you don't hear from a lot of other chords.
Especially when coming out of that piccolo solo, when the actual brass comes in, that's signature BD.
And they do those, and that's the thing. There are those moments that we talked about this, I think, last week. There's just moments that they do that you just hear, and it's like BD. That's BD. That's their arranger. That's their brass book. That's what they do, and nobody else replicates that. It's such a unique sound, and they do it with such precision that it's almost like they make it look too easy. If they made it look hard, maybe people would be drawn into it. Being a little bit more exciting, but they just make it look so easy, and they have such swagger when they do
it. I tell people is if you really pay attention to them. I had the pleasure to stand alongside them at a retreat for actually multiple competitions, because back then it was different. There was a lot more full retreats and stuff, but it's like what you said, how they make certain things look so easy, in their style and their philosophies and the way they perceive things. When you notice, like, the year, I don't know if a lot of people saw this, but if you recognize the year Crown won, and we talked to a lot of people, because that same year, what happened? Didn't they get like hundreds in like every caption?
And there were a bunch of them. There was a bunch.
Yeah, like a bunch of captions. They were getting perfect scores. And we were sitting there talking to each other. It's like, look how hard Crown had to work to beat BD. Look how hard they did. And what's funny about it, it's the same thing when SEV won with Babylon. Look how hard those groups, and what no mistake that those groups could do to win those years. And then BD comes out still second.
Yep.
And then watch them in the retreat. They are so calm and just cool. They're conversating with each other. They're laughing. You got SEVs being SEV, straightforward face, no talking. Everybody's straightforward. And it's like they have this calm demeanor to them. It's not an arrogance. I hate trying to use that word.
It's a swagger.
It's a swagger, and it's a good swagger.
Yeah,
and it's like, because they're that kind of gold standard. They're that kind of good. They have that kind of understanding. They have that kind of consistency within the program. I mean, you can just name a whole bunch of stuff, but it's like it amazes me to see that sometimes. It's like, man, look how hard Coates and them had to work to beat them. And BD's still on their tail, and they're just chilling in the second place. They're just chilling in the line.
Yeah, you remember the shows that beat BD because they had to be absolute rock stars to beat them. Like the design, those shows are special shows. Spartacus, special show. Angels and Demons, special show. Downside Up, special show. Eve was MC Squared, special show.
You can name them for days.
Yep. You can. And
easy.
You had they just clicked on all cylinders, and if you have they not only make your talent have to be on their A game, they make your design team. Yeah, they make your food truck workers have to be on their A game. You better not have no red apples. They better be green, those delicious. Boy,
that macaroni better not be burnt. I tell you,
boy,
I want full creaminess.
It's just credit to the organization that is the Blue Devils. It really is. It's just excellence upon excellence. And
they have fun, man.
Yeah, exactly.
They have fun, and I think people think that they just BD has fun. I've housed with them before. It's fun to see them. It's just.
I mean, and you go back to all those shows that we just named that beat them. All of those shows were completely innovative, and that is
Yeah.
probably the only reason why it beat them. Like you look at Spartacus with the storytelling that they had to do to make that pull that off, and then you look at Crown had to play all of the chromatic notes in the world on the move and rotate a 3D prism to beat them. You know, Bluecoats had to be innovative with their sound engineering and putting a freaking carnival slide out on the field.
Yeah,
And you know, all these things. And BD just day in, day out, it's the same old, same old. We're going to have some white props out here, and we're going to march clean as hell and play all the jazz and squeal trumpets all day long and have a damn good drum line and guard. And it's like, I mean, save some for the rest of us.
They understand.
Yeah,
they understand, and they do it well. They do it well.
3 hours later, we're still talking about BD music caption.
But you know, that's the thing. It's just excellent. So, moving on to the visual captions, BD's did not sweep the visual captions. They were first in visual proficiency and visual analysis, but they were second in color guard. But they still won the overall visual caption. Ended up being 0.4, 0.375 over second place.
Mm-hmm.
Boston Crusaders were second in visual. They were fourth in visual proficiency, third in visual analysis, but they won color guard.
That guard.
So guard helped them out a lot. Crown, third in proficiency, fourth in analysis, third in color guard, which actually put them fourth in visual. So we got some, we might want to look at from a visual standpoint what's kind of holding them back, especially visual analysis, for them to be fourth. Bluecoats was second in proficiency, second in analysis, but fourth in color guard, finishing fifth in content, which put them third in the visual caption overall, and then Santa Clara's fifth across the board in visual. So the visual game, and I really think that's the thing that is understated about the Blue Devils program is those shapes are clean. Their drill looks like power when they march it. Yeah. All their body work is one. It literally looks like somebody took one person, copied and pasted it, and that's what you see on the field. I really think that's the thing that people underestimate about Blue Devils program is their visual contribution. But Boston's guard trying to win another title. But
they got to stay on they ticket, because if it wasn't for that content, BD would have took guard. Would have took color guard. So Boston can't even let up in color guard right now, because Blue Devils are definitely on those heels for color guard. And you're right on it, because that whole intro to BD's show is fantastic. That's my jam. I don't care if nobody said that intro BD does with the stage all put together and everything, and they got it's my jam. I was like, yeah.
But just kind of looking at the recap, though, Bluecoats strong in the visual package, except for guard. That's kind of holding them back. I mean, they were 0.6 behind Boston, and so we're talking about the overall spread. That kid, they bumped that up. They can be back in medal contention, maybe even second.
That's all
kind of going on, and then GE, we've had certain judges have them first in general effect. So, kind of looking at things, Bluecoats might try to figure out their guard. Crown's visual packages,
it may not be enough. There's a lot of dead spots, because the real stuff don't happen till the closure. If you really think about it, you got your opening phrase where they're doing all the triple tonguing and stuff, and they're moving during all that, and then you got the stuff at the end.
But everything else is just, we're going to run over here and stand and play with this fabric, or go in. I don't know.
They're in a sense, they're giving it to you on some visual stuff.
Yes.
prop wise and things like that. But if you're trying to talk about drill, that's where it could
like,
be.
That's the thing. Now that I think about it, that field feels the field feels cluttered to me.
By the end, yeah. Because everything they pull out, it's kind of like they just lay it down. I mean, they lay it down in a pattern or like what's supposed to be a visually appealing way. But by the end of it, it does kind of really shrink their area to move, which is fine. A lot of corps and bands will frame the field, but I don't like. Am I going to be an old head and be like, they're not marching enough? Like,
I mean, it could, but that's the thing. It could be, and it's just like during the drum break. They're so spread out with the flags and the ribbons and stuff like that. Maybe that effect is not having the effect that they thought it was supposed to get. Maybe it's not. Maybe the fabric is not enough. Maybe if you put huge swing flags or something on everybody, maybe it would fill up the field more.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't really understand the purpose of it.
I think it's one of.
And I'm not saying it's bad. I just don't understand it.
My interpretation of it was, if I'm not mistaken, when it says just own it, when they put the vocal on, it says now own it, and then everybody gets to dance and everything. It's a moment of weird.
Oh, I'm thinking about the ballot tart.
Oh, the ballot.
That's what I'm thinking about. I'm sorry. Okay,
I
didn't know we were
okay.
My bad.
Yeah. Well, that one I would have to ask myself. I don't know if they're just trying to use it as a visual aid,
or a focal point.
just kind of like a focal point. Okay, that was
either that or it's like we got to add something. What can we do?
What can we do? Type
to
thing.
Bump this up some more, because I mean, I said it early on. It's like, what more can they do to this show to make it? I mean,
that's the hard thing about a hype show, because you when you have a hype show, you're hyped from beginning to end.
You're already there.
So like when you're so like it's hard to. It's gonna be. I mean, like I said, the crown's gonna be there at the end. Like there's probably gonna end up being a solid crown at some point.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I mean, that's probably what they did, because I mean, you got the mellow. I think it's the mellows and the trumpets, sopranos that are in it, and they were just like. I mean, I think people are digging it, because I swear every time I see it, the crowd
when they pop through the holes and start playing, everybody's like, "Whoa!"
Everybody's like, "Oh!" every single time. So it's having some kind of effect. In some cases, it's working. I may not know exactly why.
I'm not seeing it, but I'm not seeing like why it's that cool. Like, and it might just be because I can't see details or anything. But it's just like, all right, they're standing. They put their whole head through a hole. They're playing beautifully.
It's a moment.
They can do that without.
Because I mean, you could raise the same question with the tarps that go through the band in the beginning, those strings or whatever.
Yeah,
that reminded me a whole lot of Cabbies in Spin Cycle when they did the popcorn section. You remember that?
Spin Cycle was my jam.
Spin Cycle was one of the ones I was like, that show should have won, but the Summertime Blues Mix was a really good show. But we digress. But yeah, so visual, that's something to look at. Don't people listening to this that are because I know people may not have strong feelings about Jump Corps, but they have strong feelings about Jump Corps,
right?
And a lot of people are asking, why is the gap so wide from first to And these are the things, and these points add up. These tenths add up, really quickly. But I would encourage you guys to really watch the visual package, just that these guys are bringing and seeing what's going on. Because, like I mentioned to you, Will, those pants that Blue Coats wear, do a lot for that visual package with everything that they do.
Very much. It reminds me a little bit of Music City Drum Corps. I like their uniforms and how they when they turn and spin. I'm like, this is double duty. I was like, they were smart.
Very.
So
Can
moving on to music. Go ahead.
Say, can we dig into the like 11, 12, 13 placement zone?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna finish this top 5, and then we're gonna get down to that here to say. Guess I was trying to. We're just getting sidetracked. We may have to do a 2-parter.
Oh gosh,
because it's a lot to go through. But I'll try to get through this part quickly. In music, BD won music overall, first in brass. There were 2 music analysis judges this show, so that was the other caption that got doubled. First in both of those captions. Ironically enough, they had the same score in both captions.
they were very on the same page.
Yeah. And then they were. Good Lord. I'm looking at it. And then third in percussion was Blue Devils. So that put them first by 0.3 in music overall. Boston's caption, third in brass, fourth and third in analysis, second in percussion, but fourth in content. So in content percussion. So that's something to look out at. Carolina Crown, second in brass, second in both analysis captions, but fifth in percussion. That's something to talk about.
That Boston content is funny. You got 9.2 in content, but 9.4 in achievement. And everybody knows what Boston is playing. And you're saying the content is 9.2.
Well, here's the thing. How much of that 9.2 is battery and how much of that 9.2 is front?
I've been saying it. I was going to see who's going to catch it.
You listening, you already know.
Blue
Coach, fourth in brass, fifth in analysis by both judges, fourth in percussion. And then Vanguard, fifth in brass, third and fourth in analysis, first in drums. Mm-hmm. So
I got told by a pretty good friend that Vanguard, since 2011, has never lost percussion at that show.
Oh, wow.
At San Antonio?
That is,
at the San Antonio.
That's amazing.
When my good friends told me that, I was like, well, how about that?
Boston was on their butt, but they fell a little bit short.
I wonder if that has something to do with, like, you know how they always start spring training on their own, and it's in Texas. Mm-hmm. So is it North Texas usually? I wonder, like, when they get back to that tour, like that's their Zen zone, and they kind of like.
I think so. I think so. You know, Zach. When for the high school that I teach at, I do the percussion camp week separate from the winds, and that's kind of where I got the idea from, because now I can concentrate just on them, getting them the things that they need, and they don't have to worry about what the band's doing. I have that distraction.
Or sitting in full band while they're tuning piccolos when they could be learning the ballad. Yeah.
So I think that's a thing that they do. I think it's really smart. And they have 2 fantastic arrangers in Paul and Sandy.
Yeah.
And you know what you're going to get out of that.
Well, it's like being part of that group, when the winds and everybody shows up to camp and you go to the full band rehearsal for the first time and the whole battery and percussion know the whole show. You're like, dang, like they did all that in a week. Like we gotta step up our game, even though we just got here. It's like,
and it's so necessary because of those notes. It's so many more notes that the percussion
puts the full picture together.
Yeah. So Crown is doing their job musically, just not perk. So here we go again, going back to the 2010s, where Crown's doing all this fantastic stuff.
Yep.
In brass and their percussion, and I hate to use the word killing them, but it's hurting.
Yeah,
it's hurting. Because and here's what happened. Chords have caught up with their brass line. Chords have caught up. They used to just run away with brass, and now they're not anymore. Chords are catching them there, and then having better percussion ensembles, and it's causing problems. And I mean, if they're not careful, as we look at the top 5 overall,
I mean, it's still a major achievement to be in the top 5.
It
When you're
is. It
talking
is.
about
But
this,
we're talking about a title.
yeah, well, yeah.
We're talking about trying to win a
When you're
title.
talking about this, that can't fly.
So you got Blue Devils 1.4 ahead of the pack, almost 1.5. It's catchable. But it's going to take some stuff. But then the rest of it, you got 90.7, 90.4, which is just 0.3 or a little less, 89.9, which is just a half a point, and then fifth is a little over a point. So that's a bit of a stretch between fourth and fifth.
Mm-hmm.
But second through third, we're talking about, you can see those three, Crown, Boston, and Bluecoats, shift nightly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every time they go to head to head, you can legitimately see those three finishing in any order.
Because
coming out of that.
Yep.
So we're talking about battles. That is a battle between second, third, and fourth. But to answer, we had a viewer asked us a question, so we're going to shout out to Dylan for asking us a question. His question was, what do we think Crown has to do to win? And I'm going to, obviously, the drum line the percussion section needs to get a little bit stronger.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to close the gap in percussion. That's not going to be an easy task to do with that. Brass book seems to be fine. Analysis seems to be fine. Show's put together well. And then probably need to step up the visual package a little bit. Yeah. Finishing fourth in visual.
Mm-hmm. Guard
guard sitting third. But visual analysis fourth. They're going to have to probably look at the things that they're using on the field and figure out what we need to have, what do we need, and what's helping us and what's hurting us. Because sometimes too much on the field is too much to look at, and you get distracted at the things that you're really supposed to look at. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think GE is going to be a crapshoot all year. I think it's going to be judges' preference. I would not be surprised if we did by the end of the season, maybe not this week or next week, but start to see some of that gap between all those scores and Blue Devils shrink a little bit.
Small. I was about to say get smaller.
Yeah. So I would say for Crown, get that percussion working and get that visual package a little bit more polished. And we're talking about top 5 polished, not like what are you doing polish. So
Crown is in a boat of with their battery. I feel like achievements got to get up. I think content is on the level of everyone. It's the achievement that has to start rising to the occasion.
So that's our top 5. So we're going to dive a little bit into some other stuff real quick, but kind of going down some more. Like I said, we think right now SCV sitting solidly 5th. Right under them, Cadets probably sitting solidly 6th. I think they're 6 across the board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Blue Stars, pretty comfortable at 7. You start get a battle for 8th. Okay. Mandarins and Cavaliers, 83.813, and judges are already using half a point. That's the list. You know how tight this show was. For Mandarins, 83.813, Cavies, 83.25. So if you want to break those captions down, we'll just go head to head. Well, maybe not head to head, but going GE, Mandarins 8th and 9th. Sorry, Mandarins 8, 9, 8, 8 to put them 8th. Cavaliers were 9th, 8th, 10th, 10th to put them 10th. So 0.5 gap in general effect between those two cores.
I say that hurt.
Visually, Mandarins 8th, 10th, and 7th. So top 7 finishing guard for Mandarins, which put them 8th. Cavaliers 7, 8, 10th in color guard to put them 9th. So 0.25 gap there. And then in music, Mandarins 7th, 9th, 9th, and 8th. And then Cavaliers 8th, 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 and 7th which puts them 7th over Mandarins by 0.137. So Cavies are kind of catching them in music. It's not a big gap though.
Mm-hmm.
The effect caption and the visual caption kind of is owned by Mandarins right now. So there that is. And then you had a little bit of a fall. Phantom, 10th, solidly there. And then a huge gap. And let's talk about this. 11, 12, 13. Yeah, 11, 12, and 13. Troopers are sitting 14th, but they're a point behind 13th right now. So here we go. Here's our finalist spots right here. Blue Knights, 11. Colts 12 and Crossman 13th. And I think you guys agree Blue Knights had a much better run that they've been having.
They needed that a long time ago.
Yeah. So kind of breaking those captions down as well. Scroll over. So in general reflect on the effect. Here we go. Blue Knights were 12th, 11th, 12th, and 11th, which finished them 11th overall. Colts were 11, 12, 14, 12, which had them 12th overall, 0.3 behind Blue Knights. Mm-hmm. And then Crossman, 13, 13, 11, 13, had them 13th, 0.05 behind Colts. Okay. So Blue Knight, that's pretty close on there. From the visual standpoint, Blue Knights, 12th, 12th, and 12th, which had them 12th. Colts 11th, 14th, 13th, which had them 13th in visual. And then Crossman 14th, 11th, and 11th, which had them 11th in visual. So they are up on Blue Knights visually by 0.2 and up on the Colts by 0.45.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get to music. Blue Knights 12th, 11th, 11th, 13th. Which had them 12th in music. Colts, 11th, 13th, 12th, and 12th, which had them 11th in music. And Crossman, 14th, 12th, 13th, 15th, which had them 14th in music. So Colts in that little pod won music by 0.025. Blue Knights Blue Knights right behind them. And then Crossman was 14th. Almost 0.7 behind Colts. So I think that's where your Colts got in the final position is music. By point, they're sitting a little under 0.3 behind Crossman, and Colts are sitting 0.5, a little over 0.5 behind Blue Knights. So some tight battles. You can kind of see where captions kind of hurt some groups, and design kind of hurt some groups too. Especially with those GE. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you're looking at your top three. Well, no, sorry, not top three, but second, third, and fourth fluctuating, like you said earlier, Blue Coats and all them. And then you're looking at these bottom threes doing the exact same thing.
I could see that very well. Blue Knights is not out of the woods at all.
Nope,
Coach,
at all.
At all. And we know Crossman is a perennial core. So
yeah, and they stand on that tail. So
when you think about the captions that you for sure can control is music and visual. Like that's where GE is subjective. I feel like, to whoever the panel is, but especially with visual, like you're either hitting or it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And just me thinking of wanting to see somebody new in finals for Colts, what they've got to do, they got to get that guard together. And they got to clean up visually. That analysis caption held them out. So, if you spend some more time in Fun Block or whatever y'all do to get that together and get your guard some more sectionals time or whatever it requires, I think they're okay because the music is right in there with everybody else. GE is going to be what it's going to be. But the things you can control, visual.
That's a kind of, that's almost a more dangerous spot than the top.
Yeah.
I think the bottom is way more dangerous than the top.
Way more fickle. because
because you won't. For me, man, the dream was when I marched is the finals crowd. When you're talking about, man, you're doing this for the people, you're doing this for the love and the enjoyment of the appreciation and everything, man. You gotta know how to mix dealing with the judges and the scores so you can do what you claim that you love to the biggest stage of the season, which is finals. So it's hard to have that passion to be your only focus this season and then not get to do it on the best stage that there is the whole season. You see what I'm saying? And that's where I think a lot of groups lose that balance. It's like you got to find some kind of balance, because if the scores and everything the judges are saying don't matter, then you're not going to get there. You're not going to get to do what you say you love on the best stage of the season. You got the whole season to, people will see it and everything, but a lot of people wait for that one time because it's the finals. It's the same thing as the Super Bowl. Yeah, you go through most of the shows throughout the regular season, but it's all about the Super Bowl. That crowd, and then you get to see that halftime show. You get to see your favorite, team, all of that in one spot. Yep. So, yeah, that bottom tier, man.
We've talked about it before too. Like, we've seen it. I've seen it personally twice now when Academy broke through and when Mandarins broke through. Like, the crowd appreciation for those kids when after that final salute, like,
oh my gosh.
I specifically remember both years, the drum majors just, like, you can see, like, they should already be climbing down off that podium and pushing it out the tunnel by now. But they're just soaking it in. Like, this is what we've worked for, blood, sweat, and tears since God knows how long. This is why my back will never be the same from sleeping on gym floors. But we've made it. And that's one of the reasons why I'm pulling for Colts, is because nobody expected this to be the conversation that we're having, I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, and I would just love to experience that through them. Like, that's one of the, like, I remember that one year we sat like the very front row at finals, and we could have stole the trophy if we wanted to. Like, my favorite part about that was watching the front ensemble at the end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are playing their heart and soul through that keyboard, tears running down their face, hugging each other when they're done, and like the connection you see between them. Like, this is it. This is the last time, and it's like, I just want to go out there and hug them all. Like, it's okay, I promise. Like, we love it just as much.
Yeah. But, I ain't downplaying the regular season, the rest of the season.
No.
It's a whole another vibe at finals. As a performer and as a spectator, it is a whole different vibe at finals for everybody all the way around.
Yeah, when, of course, for indoor season, I take my kids up there, and we never go up there with like we're gonna win, we're gonna go and we're gonna be champions, but to get them to play in front of people who appreciate what they do on the high stage amongst peers across the country who have been working equally as hard at doing what they do, and to get to do it an extra time. We felt that pain this year to be just short of making that finals, that final spot. But they felt they belong. And, that's what the Colts are fighting for.
I'm 12 years removed from that ensemble, and I felt the pain when I saw that score sheet. Like,
it's hard. I ain't trying to get too deep into WGI yet, because that's coming up. But that the first time I stepped on the Dayton Arena floor at finals, man, it hits different, man.
Yeah.
And those lights and everybody's there, and the way they announce you, and the full retreats and all of that jazz, man. It's a whole.
It's a vibe. It's a vibe, and anybody listening that can attest to that. It's something special to be a part of the finals retreat, and whether it's DCI, whether it's your local state marching band championships, or WGI or BOA, whatever it is, to be known as one of the top groups in the country or in the world, and be alongside the rest of the people who have that same distinction. It means something. So best believe Blue Knights don't want to lose that feeling, and Colts are going to fight to get that feeling. And do not sleep on Troopers.
No,
don't do it.
That's too fantastic.
No, don't.
Yeah, 4 groups fighting for 2 spots.
Yeah, that battle down there is nowhere near done. Nowhere near done. So
man,
we've been at it. Y'all want to go ahead and keep going? I mean, it's 55.
Yeah, let's knock it out.
Go ahead and knock it out. All right.
Yeah.
I think we're talking about good stuff. And
yeah.
Guys and people listening, no, you don't have to listen to all of this in one setting. Listen to 30 minutes and then pause it or whatever. But, good talk is good talk. So I wanted to pose the question, because we're seeing a lot of recently new in the top 12. Do you think DCI hit the reset button? And what I mean by that is, COVID has changed a lot of things in a lot of aspects of life. And it kind of makes you think, how did some of these corps spend their time over the past 2 years dealing with the pandemic and dealing with stuff? How do you think that has affected what we're seeing now with, I'll go ahead and say it, parity in drum corps? Right? What do you think about that? Because a lot of groups, we can speculate what some of these groups did during the pandemic, but we really don't know. I mean, unless they just come out and told us. I mean, we know Crown did a 7-day camp and learned the show. That was
I was like, in 7 days, finals ready. How?
But, no
sense.
It's kind of. We can kind of go down the list here.
7 days.
Blue Devils didn't come out. They did a video
that no one understood.
That nobody knows what was going on with it.
What happened?
What
happened, BD?
They did that.
They're like, all right, I guess we better make something. So you get in here and stand in these lights.
And if somebody's on Blue Devils watching this, and if you want to explain to us what that is,
please Jesus, do it.
Please, we'd love to hear about it.
You can write to us at PO Box. I'm just kidding.
Seriously. But Boston came out last year like it was World Championships for real.
I think we have groups that we know they could take a year off and come back, and they're still going to be who they are. BD, Vanguard didn't come out at all. They didn't miss a beat. Blue Coats, no, not them. Well, they could have took a year off and they'd been fine. Crown kind of took the year off. They're fine. Cavaliers, I think they're one of those groups that's pretty solid, and they could have afforded a year off. But they chose to still come out. But then you've got this group that I think coming out last year really helped them continue the momentum from the season before. I think specifically, you talk about Boston coming out with that. That just kind of hyped up that whole organization, I feel like. And it's like, yes, they were doing things that wouldn't have been able to have been done in another year, but I definitely think they're riding that wave out. I mean, they've been riding a wave for the last 6 years, let's be honest. And then, for groups like the Blue Stars and the Mandarins, having that consistency of that year, you can see that it helped them take another step further. And then, Madison Scouts and Phantom, they were 2 groups that were sliding down every year a little bit further and further. And in the cadets as well, they come out with these classic shows that everybody loves and kind of got back to their roots, and it's hit the reset button for their core. So I definitely think other than what we could call the Blue Bloods, definitely think that year did some things in a positive manner for some groups.
Yeah, I think everybody needs a reset. When you talking about how long DCI has been out, man.
Mm-hmm.
Same with WGI. It's like time that. What do they say? It's absence makes the heart grow fonder type deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's BD gets to do all this research. I think they found a new leaf because BD's going to be scary. If people are mad this year, y'all might as well go and stay mad. Look how young BD is. Look at all the young faces in BD's group this year.
Yeah.
And if those kids usually are returnees to their core majority of the time. And if they remotely get that same line back, it's going to be dangerous for a good solid who knows how many years. So I think the reset was just good for the activity in general. You know, you had like, who was it? Phantom did an old show. Cadets did one too, right? Or did they just do a couple songs?
They just
Kinda
did
like
a
a
tribute show,
like a kind of tribute.
which a lot of cores kind of did that.
I mean, it was like it's just a breath of a breath of fresh air, a break from the constant. Well, what are we going to do this time to make it better than what we just did? And I mean, some cores still treated it as a normal year and came out with something. But if anything, it was a year. Maybe they went young on purpose last year to give those kids that experience. And so that this year, if they all came back, they knew, all right, these kids know what our system is like. They know how we run things. They know what our fundamentals and skills are that we pride ourselves upon. And now we're just going to pick right back up and we're going to roll with it.
I would say that for Boston for sure. Because like I said, I watched that show last year. I was like, they trying to win DCI this year. And there's not a trophy.
At all.
And make a movie.
But I really think Blue Coat show last year was testing the waters for this year. Because now that I see this show and think about last year's show, I was like, all right, there's a lot of, electronic soundscape things that are very similar to.
They've been doing that since 2012.
Well, yeah, we're tilting the kinetic noise. So I think for them, it's like, what can we do? What's the next thing that we could do? So I think they used last year to learn some tricks and use them. And for a lot of other cores, I think they were training years. They were training years. There were things to keep the organization afloat because sometimes a year off is very detrimental. You know, how many times have we heard either in DCI or WGI, we're just going to take the season off so we can bounce, get our ducks in a row and bounce back. And then they just don't come back. They just don't come back. So I think some of those cores that did that, it was a smart move because they were able to keep things, going. They kept some money in the program for sure. They got training for those kids that could do it. It allowed some of those kids that might have had to age out to perform. I mean, half a crown that last year, all 7,000 of them that was on the field, still double and triple tonguing. Like, oh yeah, this is
It's like why?
But
don't understand 7 days.
85 in the guard, just
and clean. Just here we go.
Why are you?
Like, I need you to throw a 7 with the flag, not the rifle, but the flag. Thank you.
Well, I did an 8 yesterday, so I'll just do that instead. That's fine.
And I need body under it too.
You're actually going to pick up a horn and double tongue while the flag's in the air.
Yeah.
And then give it back in time to catch it.
I'll be willing to bet there are at least 5 members in that color guard that could probably play an instrument as well and do that stuff too. I'm just shocked they hadn't brought it out yet.
That's next year's show.
Probably.
Listen, I'm not watching it if the whole rifle line picks up soprano and just pulls the BD on everybody. Walking out the stadium. Look, this is not happening.
Listen,
I don't know.
I'm just telling you.
How dare you, Crown?
And
they do drill.
Yeah, because that's what they do. So yeah, I think for some groups it was a reset button. just to start fresh. And for some, it was not necessarily a reset button, but a transition or also a free season to train. And get some things, get your design team, because we're seeing a lot of design team changes as well, and ranger changes and things of that nature. And I think last year was a good, I don't want to say practice season, because the product that we got last year was amazing.
Despite
absolutely
everything.
amazing. With all of
it really
when
was.
all the protocols are still so strict, everybody's in a bubble. You had a restricted season for all of that that's still happening, and to have the season that we had last year is just simply outstanding. So, and I think this year we're seeing the benefit from it. Don't get caught up in the scores and think, well, they're not scoring as high as everybody else. Scores are relative. They are. The only group I said this, I believe it, and it may sound ignorant, but I don't really care. The only group that really gets judged by the numbers is the first one. I think everything else is a comparison. Unless somebody just comes out and set new standards, and then everybody gets compared to those guys. But I pay more attention. I pay more attention to the spread.
I mean, you can take, like, if yesterday's show at San Antonio was finals, there's not a complaint about that. The product that was presented yesterday. Like, and you could take all the way down. I mean, these 19 groups that were there yesterday in world class, I'll say, draw 12 of them out of a hat and make that finals. And it's still gonna have this, for me, it still will have the same effect. Like, I mean, obviously, if none of the top four don't make that draw, it's not going to be, as whatever. Yeah. But what I'm saying is I still would leave finals with whoever those 12 are feeling like, man, that season, I can't wait for next year. Like,
a lot of great work being done by everybody this year. So it's these are just talking points, and these are, barbershop talk. This is what everybody's talking about. Everybody's trying to figure out why, BD's so good and why that gap is. And we all have these discussions that, are happening. But at the end of the day, you can't argue that there are 19 world-class scorers and how many ever open class? I think it's like 12, or something like that are working their butts off to give the best quality product that they can give. And like I said, this would be one of those years that I would take off work to go watch prelims and semis, because there's literally groups in every tier that I like, that I wouldn't mind seeing a couple times, and just going up for finals. We're going to miss a couple of good groups.
Yeah.
It's going to be sad, and I know they don't. I'm not saying they need to extend it to 15, but one of these be one of those years that you would consider.
Yeah, and because there's been years in the past where there's a clear cut 12,
top 8, or 8,
10, and it's like, all right, well, whoever else is in. But like this year, I mean, we've said it from the get go. It's like, dang, like we could take 16 if we wanted to, and
still have a great show.
It's just like I've always said, man. It's like when you had your reigning top 5 for so many years. We say this in indoor all the time too. It just takes one of them to start to mess up or to blink at the wrong time, and you let somebody get in. Like we said earlier in some of the earlier podcasts, somebody blinked and let Crown in. Then they let Blue Coats in. Now they don't let Boston in. And y'all now let Mandarins in. Y'all done sat up here and let Academy come around. Y'all got Blue Stars taking over everybody. You got, who else is, Colts is jumping in the pack now. It's like, come on, a lot of y'all doing a whole lot of blinking. And this stuff is shaking up.
I think we're going to see a renaissance in the next couple of years of this high quality shows, and what we are used to seeing being top 5 is now going to be 9 through 12. Yeah, you're going to start seeing cadets, or not cadets, but like blue coats type shows finishing 11th now. That's because those guys at the top are going to be like, all right, we need to. We're the trendsetters. We're the innovators. We need to figure out what the next thing is.
Because it's just like I said, like in WGI, you know, you got X, you got RCC, Mystique, you got what's the Broken City? Yeah. If one of them fade out, they're gonna wind up messing up, and they're gonna let Infinity get up in there. It is, as soon as that stuff starts happening, Matrix gonna turn around.
All
and
it
get
takes
up in
is
there.
for one group to do it and see it be done, and that inspires everybody else.
And everybody else, and I think that's kind of what happened. Mandarins broke the mold. Look who's come through the hole. They didn't, you know, there was a wall up or whatever, and they took out a couple bricks. And then slip through, so I don't know.
So yeah,
got folks down at the bottom who ain't never been there, at least in a while, maybe.
So yeah. So you guys let us know what you think. You know, did DCL have a reset, and how do you feel about it? Because I think it's calls for an exciting season this year because of everything that's happening, for sure. All right, you want to do road predictions first, or you want to talk about next week's show?
You just get next week out of the way.
So the show of the week for this week, or the one to watch. Sorry, the one to watch. Zach, this is your bit. You do it.
My segment. You trying to steal my thunder?
I know. That's why I said I handed it to you.
Dang, have you not talked enough tonight?
Dang, I have. I've talked too much.
That is not your slogan.
The whole damn recap.
All right, this week's one to watch. Well, we're going to go with the Southeastern Championship this time.
You don't even know.
Last week's was Southwestern. Now this week is Southeastern in Atlanta, Georgia, at that good old spaceship, the Mercedes-Benz Dome. Basically, everybody and their mama is going to be there. We run through with Atlanta CB Heatwave. Gold is making their return. I think it might be their first show back since their pause. Okay. Then Genesis Music City Academy Madison Scouts. Little intermission there. Shout out to Intermission Drum and Bugle Corps if you haven't followed them on Twitter. There were some pretty funny people there.
They are hilarious.
So shout out to them. And then after that, here it comes. Phantom, Cavaliers, Mandarins, Blue Stars, SCV, Blue Coats, Blue Devils, Crown, and then finish the night with Boston. So if you are a Boston fan or a Boston member, you might be feeling kind of good about that.
That draw can really shake up some stuff.
Whole lot of stuff could shake up. You got BD going on third.
Yeah, right after Blue Coats. I mean, you can't think of
force them to,
more opposite order of how things go. You know, all those 5, including Vanguard, are bringing their
because it's now like, can you say that the groups that have been the closest to you are still not better than you, even though you went on third?
Yeah.
Judges got a job.
My name's in it, and I ain't in it.
Nah. don't want none of that. So make sure you watch that live on Saturday at the Beautiful Flow Marching. Make sure you try to catch that. Or if drive down there. Me and Will used to go to that show a lot before we started going to Worlds. And it's a good show. It's a great show down there. So
I know I'll be at Murfreesboro on Friday night for sure. I think Chris will be there too. So we can find each other amongst all of the high school bands in attendance. I might slide on some Facebook Live or something.
Yeah, man, that's what I was going to say, man. Y'all there. Y'all should do just a little quick live.
We can go through the Subi booths and
I would. Yeah, that'd be super
introduce
cool.
ourselves.
Super dope. Because you already know, if you don't know, we going to do something for finals. I don't know what it's going to look like yet. But a vlog will be involved. But
I'm bringing a table, and we're going to set up at the very end of the sous vide row and see if anybody notices.
Listen, I'm going to look into shirts this week. I am, for real. I'm going to figure out shirts.
Anybody got a cricket? Holler at us.
We need shirts now. I got plenty of people who can do it. Doesn't matter. We got the logo. But anyway, so before we leave today, instead of doing our top 8 for this weekend show, we're going to do something a little bit different. And we're going to give our bold prediction for finals. This is going to be a placement of some sort or something crazy like Bones is actually going to march the show this year. I don't know. It could be.
Listen, the way that show is going, 3 different.
The trip, man.
All the combinations.
But we are going to we're just going to give a bold prediction of what we think may happen at finals, or maybe what we want to happen at finals. But there's something maybe outlandish. You can put yours down in the comments below, or you can put it on our Facebook page to let us know what you think your bold prediction is going to be. We'll start with. I was going to say.
I have Chris's bold prediction. He sent it to me.
That's what I was going to say.
Chris is MIA this week. It was his son's 3rd birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Maddox.
The big three.
Chris's bold prediction is that the Crossmen will miss finals. He says that, just with Blue Knights kind of turning a corner and figuring some things out, Crossman kind of seems to be the odd man out at this point. And the battle between Crossman, Blue Knights, and Colts is going to end up with Crossman just coming up a little bit short. So, write it down in stone.
Go.
In stone.
William, what is your bold prediction? We broke him, guys.
Okay. And this, are they allowed to change through the?
Sure.
I mean, we know they're all going to be wrong, probably. Anyways.
Okay.
I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something to spark some controversy. So I'm just going to be that guy.
For the fences,
yeah.
This is first of all. I came up with this because I thought it would be kind of like what Cedric said, controversial or funny.
You have
oh god.
Do we all have the same one?
No. Mine, I hope not. Well, mine is I feel Boston's going to win drums.
Damn it.
Are you kidding me?
Don't tell me. Okay, well, all right.
Okay.
I
will change mine because it's similar. It's not.
That was on the back.
It's not exactly that. But I was going to say
either. But
mine was that. I have another one, but I was going to say that Vanguard wasn't going to win drums. That's what I was going to say.
That's what I was going to say.
But see,
I was going to take it one step further and say that prelims, semis, and finals will all have a different winner in that caption.
See, here's the thing. Let me ask this. If there's a different winner in all 3 days, do they go off of the highest score?
They take the average.
It's the average.
That's what they do anyway. They take the average.
Of the season.
No, the average of the prelims, finals, and semis. That's how they always do it.
So if it's 3 different winners,
whoever has the highest average of the 3 nights.
Whoever has the highest average
from those 3 nights.
That's what I thought. Because here's the thing. I want to throw BD in it. I don't know though. And the reason why is because all of the back and forth SCV and BD's been doing all season. And now Boston done stuck their toe in it. But I just don't think, I don't know in the end. This is why I asked, can we change it? Because I don't know in the end if Boston can hold on to that if the whole percussion does not get it together. The whole percussion. Okay? Not one section, whole percussion.
No, I think anybody who has watched this podcast understand that when we talk about the percussion trophy, we mean everybody in the percussion. If you're hitting something, you count.
Percussion. So because of that, I have SEV. I feel like SEV is still going to win, but the Boston threat is real. The Boston threat is
most
real.
I would agree with that.
But I can foresee 3 different groups winning 3 different days.
That could be the bold prediction is seeing 3 different groups win. Because that's plausible. That is very plausible.
Yeah. What my brain is really telling me is that it's going to be like the last real judge season, and SCV's going to win 2, and somebody's going to win the third one. I feel like SCV's probably going to still win 2, and then whoever's going to win the third one, and SCV will wind up winning it anyways. But at this point, you're talking about a different group winning each night.
That was sure.
Well, I'm going to have to rethink because we were all sharing a brain wavelength.
I already had a couple of mine. So.
We'll go with one of your other ones then. Your turn.
Oh, Jesus. Well,
angry.
How specific do I want to get here?
See,
I'll just go ahead and say it. I think we're gonna have a 2000. I think we're gonna have a 2008.
Oh Jesus!
I think somebody's gonna catch BD.
Oh Jesus!
I don't know who's.
And I wanted to say that.
I don't know who's gonna be.
I wanted to say that. My prediction, it's going. I feel like it's either going to be Boston or Crown. I don't know. I don't know why. I feel like it's going to be Boston.
I don't feel good about that at all. I don't. But it's happened before. Yeah. And I think.
Okay.
I think there's more room to grow for those next 3 cores. I don't know how much left BD got in the tank.
Okay, here we go. Here's mine. Someone is going to be going into semifinals with a medal, but then they're going to lose it on finals night. And that's also going to apply to somebody in the bottom 3.
So you're saying
semifinals, they're going to have a spot in finals, and somebody's going to have a medal on semis, and then come at the end of that night, they're going to lose it.
Yeah.
So, like, it could be that Blue Knights are sitting 12th at semis, but then at the end of the night, they're 13th, and they miss out. And it could be the Blue Coats are 3rd, but then they end up 4th on finals. Something like that.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I can see that, too.
Because I think the year, what was the first year Blue Coats did Lucy? The first time?
The Blue Coats.
They did the Beatles. It was the Beatles show, but they called it the Blue Coats.
Yeah. Me personally, I felt like the semi-final run was way more energetic than finals. So it could come down to something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
you're talking about
I called it the tilt year. I said Blue Coats are going to jump cadets and get that medal, and it happened. Just that cadet showed us wasn't hidden with everybody.
Yeah, that bottom 3, man, none of them can.
Hell, that bottom 3 may be different all 3 nights.
They got to hold their breath. Nobody can breathe.
Top 3 could be different all 3 nights.
Boy, listen, I don't know.
That's the scariest part.
Like I said, Blue Devils they'll either expand that lead or it's going to get tight. And when you start getting tight, things start to happen. And it's almost like
because it's not impossible because BD didn't sweep everything, and that's what's scary for them.
They swept everything
but
like percussion.
Yeah, and the guard has its little issues or whatever, but you're telling folks, you're basically telegraphing and telling everybody, hey, we have the flaw you need to catch us, but nobody's listening.
You're leaving the door open. It's barely open.
Basically, they left the door cracked, but nobody has realized that the door is cracked.
I mean, it might be shut, but not locked.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it's locked, but it ain't.
Yeah, because nobody's stepped up to check it. Nobody's jiggled the handle to see if it's actually locked.
Someone's gonna have to go after it. Legitimately somebody, Boston or I'll say Boston or Crown's going to have to go after it. They're going to have to do something.
They're going to need to get one of those battering rams that they use on cops when the people got the door locked and they just.
Mm-hmm.
I keep saying Blue Coats doesn't have it. They are still hiding stuff. I still think they still got like 3 points left in their basket. I don't think we're still seeing everything from them. I still think they got some tricks up their sleeve.
And that's going to jack it up even more if they come out with something that's spectacular.
Yeah.
And the other.
And I'm still holding out for a different ending for Boston.
I am too.
I'm still holding
out
for a different ending. Well, we still haven't heard them play the lick yet. Then I don't notice it. It ain't in there. Yet. So it's got to be. I mean, it's them. They have to have it somewhere.
So
see,
people trying to hold out as long as they can. But it's one of those things at this point.
The gaps
is it going to help or hurt?
Yeah, the gaps so large, you might have to start testing some stuff out now. Like
That's
these are the
saying.
2 weeks. Southwestern and Southeastern are the 2 weeks where you put that first big change out there, and then you got a week, and then you got Allentown. So we might see some more wholesale changes on some stuff this weekend as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, Cadets that year they did the 10 show. Cadets changed uniforms, the Allentown show, and went with all black.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they waited till the last moment. They put those uniforms on in the tunnel on the way to finals.
They wore them all today just to fool you.
Yep.
Waited till nobody could see them.
They wore the white ones in the lot, and then on the bus from the lot to Lucas Oil, they put on the black.
So those are our boat predictions. They'll probably change tomorrow.
After we sign off.
After we sign off, we're like, you know what? I don't really believe what I said.
Yeah.
I kind of don't.
What the hell did I just say?
I kind of don't believe what I said. I'm not gonna lie. I don't.
Ain't gonna get no sleep.
How did I say that? So
got a tweet before it puts out.
So that was episode. This is episode 6 of the On the Back Cash 6.
Woo!
Yeah, man. Of the On the Back Cash podcast. So it's a little bit longer. Like I said, break it up if you need to. Of course, this is the end.
It might have needed to be broken.
This is the end. This is the end of the podcast. So if you're hearing break it up now, then I don't know what to tell you. But there it is. So, but yeah. So, fellas, anything else?
He knows.
Right.
Okay, band camp season.
Yeah, band camp. You might see me a little darker next episode. Because
I'll probably be
take your umbrella.
Yeah.
Take your umbrellas. Get your sunscreen. Get your water.
If you like what
make
you
sure
make sure.
Biggest bowl of cereal.
Drink a lot of
milk. Oh, no,
drink a lot of milk.
No.
Yes. All the dairy products before fun block.
Make sure you got your jeans and your hoodies on. Let me quit. Kids for real show up and be like, look, they told me to wear this on.
I didn't tell you to do nothing. He told you to. Anyway, this is make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, follow, comment, do all the stuff, man. Let us know you're watching. Want to thank you guys for 50 episodes. Oh, not 50 episodes. Lord have mercy. We need to stop. This needs to end now. 50 subscribers on YouTube, over 200 likes and follows on Facebook. We got a Twitter account too. Make sure you follow us on Twitter so you can get all the notifications. And this podcast is just as much yours as it is ours. So we want to hear your feedback and comments and things of that nature. We got a lot of stuff in mind for coming up. So we want to thank you guys for rocking with us, and I hope you keep rocking with us. So for William and Zach, my name is Cedric. This has been episode 6 of On the Back Hash. And as we always leave out,